Fans, we are reliving the moment here with our players that were a part of the 4 overtime game. We have head coach Dallas Eakins, Simon Benoit, Jacob Magna, Ben Street, Jeff Glass, Corey Trapp, Maxime Comtois, Chase DeLeo, Josh Mahura, and Sam Carrick. So, guys, thanks a lot for joining us. What we'll do, fans, is we're going to run through some highlights. We're going to get a save package that we also put together, and then we're going to look at the last overtime period. So I'll share my screen with the guys, but as I boot this up, Dallas, the first question that I want to present is to you. This is game one, and one of the storylines was we had Adam Cracknell, who was out of the lineup, and you had 2 rookie players jump in, Comtois and Lundestrom. So as you coached how you're making this lineup for this game, what were you wanting to do strategy-wise to get those guys in a pro hockey playoff game?
Well, we thought it would – number one, we thought the players coming in were very good players, and we thought they could help us win. At that point of the season, it's a time, I think, to throw the development out the door and do everything we can to win the game. And getting those 2 young guys, we thought Crack was, could be a real good influence on them. We thought they'd be excited to play with a guy like that, and the 3 of them ended up being a pretty good line.
I'll roll through the highlights that we have for you guys, and if you guys just want to comment on it. First one that I'll show everyone is just the goals that were played through during the course of that game. So I'll share my screen here. This was the Bakersfield shorthanded goal.
Oh, it's a tough one.
Oh,
sorry, eh, Glasser?
That's 6?
I had my guy.
Sorry, Glasser.
I had my guy.
Are you gonna roll through a bunch and then we're gonna talk, or you're not want to talk about each one?
You guys, I can pause if you guys want to talk one-on-one off these.
I don't think there's much.
Do you want to show
much
us
for that one?
Probably
the other
skip over
goalie?
that one.
We'll let you take this one there, Muzz.
Just go to the next one. It's all good.
Well, that was
we're gonna watch our goals here, Andy. Why are we watching that?
that's classic Bakersfield, though. I remember them being that goal, them being, even though it was shorthanded, then they were always dangerous off the rush.
I think they had 2 on me in regular season, 3 minutes at one point too. That was a tough one.
I was in there for those. I remember that.
Yeah. we weren't great on 2-on-1s together.
Tough when you allow the backdoor guy to tap it in.
Oh man, my internet's.
Andy, can you run that one back again?
Yeah.
That was first shift of the third.
Yep, first shift of the third.
What up? That was a pizza.
Oh,
Ready.
Yeah, just critical, right? Like in a game like that in the playoffs, to be able to score early, and great forecheck there.
Yeah, Wazzy.
I don't know who used the pizza line, delivering the pizza up the middle, but that's exactly what it was.
Well, with you guys being down, I'll pause it real quick. With you guys being down, and it's just a 1-goal game. I mean, what were you guys talking about in the locker room heading into that? It's such a tight game at that point.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were playing pretty well. I don't know what the shots were at that point, but I feel like we were playing a good game, and they got the one shorthanded, which was kind of a cheap one, I guess. And I mean, it was a good play by them, but we felt like 5-on-5 we were outplaying them, and we just needed a couple chances. Was that 5-on-5, that one?
Yes.
It was, yeah. So I think we were just finally, it was kind of a breakthrough for us, and getting it early was big, because then it felt like we were back at square one and could go after the win.
Yeah, I think we kept saying to just pressure their D, eventually they're going to cough it up, and then sure enough, right away it happened.
We'll jump. They score shortly after that, and then you guys respond. So we'll go through those 2 goals as well. I mean, as we're going through this, did you, like, Josh, I'll talk with you first about this. Like, did you ever have time to think about what this game was of meaning for you guys going into 4 overtimes?
Well, for me, I was in the locker room for half the third and into overtime because I got hit into the turnbuckle and stuff. So I was out for a lot of it. But I remember sitting in the training room, and obviously I didn't want to go back yet because I wanted to see the outcome of the game. But as it kept going on, I was just getting closer and closer to leaving. So it was pretty exciting when finally got in. But for me, everything was a little fuzzy. Still thinking back to it.
Glasser, you want to go through that goal?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, I didn't agree with it. No, it was one of those plays where they wrapped it, and I feel like I had my position, and I established myself on the post, and then they jammed me and the puck into the net. So, yeah, I wasn't obviously happy about it, but I think if my memory serves me right, Coho made up for it a couple seconds later. So, no harm, no foul.
Sam, when you're in the referee's crease like that, what do you guys talk about? Can you give fans an example of not only what happened there, but when you guys go, and Megs, you can touch on, when you go to that circle, what's being talked about?
Yeah, well,
Sammy, you take.
every situation's a little different. I think in the case where you have a goal scored against you, you want to get the ref's full explanation, and you want him to be 100% sure that it's a good goal. Otherwise, they should go upstairs and look at it. So for me, in this case, I don't really remember what was said, but it was probably along the lines of, that should have been at least goal interference, or maybe the whistle should have been blown. I don't think this is a really reviewable play. So I think this is one of those ones where, if they did call it a goal, then you try to, get on the ref's good side, and maybe he'll give you a call a little later on, which like Glasser said, I think he did.
I did.
Yeah, and I know sometimes too, like especially in the American League, like they just don't have a review. They're just like, sorry, we have to keep it because the camera's broken, or like I swear in half the buildings the camera's broken. They don't have a view.
Like, here's the response right away.
Oh yeah, this was a. That's another goal for Sammy.
Chalk it up.
That's another one. Number 50 on the year.
Yeah. You like to see it.
Yeah, and like that was probably worse than the one right before. So thank you. That's why the game went to 4 overtimes.
Yeah.
Trapper, how surprised were you that didn't get called?
What's that?
How surprised were you that didn't get called?
Me and Coho go way back, so I knew he was going to give us one. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, when I was on my knees, I was I was looking right at him and making we almost made eye contact, and I was almost shocked he didn't put his hand up. And then Streeter went right back door. I was like, holy shit, he didn't blow the whistle yet. It scored we skated back to the line, and we got back to the bench, and we all were like, that's a vet heavy line. Might have got one.
Yeah, I almost didn't shoot it in the net because I thought he was just going to blow the whistle. So I almost just kind of put my hands up, and I'm, looking back, I'm glad that I finished the play because there was a small part of me that wanted to just kind of okay, we're getting a penalty, it's over. And then, but yeah, it didn't happen.
Juan, and went from going tied where we were going to be on the kill, down 2-1. So obviously honestly, that's the first thing I thought was, now we have to kill a penalty. And then all of a sudden it counts and no problem.
So we'll roll to the 4 OT, and Dallas, I want to go right back to you again. As you're coaching, at this point, what are you more concerned about? Are you just wanting to roll lines?
Yeah, you're just trying to I just remember just trying to keep everybody fresh, other than Megs. And I think we ran Megs super hard. A couple of our veteran forwards, we ran pretty hard too. How many minutes did you play that night?
I was 62. I remember you came in and told me the next day.
And so that you're just trying to keep everybody fresh, but then there are, if you've got a couple of guys in your team that you know for sure can handle the minute, and you're going to run them. And we knew for sure Megs could. And the other part was like that I, when you guys got this together to come out, though, the one thing I remember for sure is it's too bad the assistant coaches weren't on, because you're trying to give your team in between periods like some direction, and then once you get through one period of overtime and two, there's really nothing left for you to say as a coach. It's fully in the hands of the players. As a coach, you just want to try to keep guys fresh, be upbeat on the bench, and that's about it. And I think it was after the third one. I think I just said, I've got nothing for you. It's you guys have to go out and so. And not to be long-winded here, but the other thing about this series that I remember was there was no love lost between these two teams. Like our big rival's always been Ontario, and I thought this season here, leading into the series, this had become a very big rival. They'd gone on a hell of a run. They had been somewhat arrogant and a little belligerent with their success. I know we all, right from the coaching staff to the players, didn't take kindly to that. And I know as a group, we were very focused on, your end game is obviously to win a championship, but this series meant a lot to the group. And we certainly wanted to put these guys in their place.
Dells, did it just get methodical when you were out for every shift, where you knew what you had to do and you were just basically taking care of business?
Yeah.
Oh, Megs?
Say Megs or Dells?
Dells, but I mean, both of you guys can talk about
go
it.
for it,
Megs, you've logged a lot.
I think at that point, you're just so dialed and there's so much adrenaline running. That pretty much takes over. You don't even really have to think. I know you're just making sure if you're the last guy back, you don't want to be the guy that turns the puck over and ends that game, because if you're battling that long, we're all leaning on each other to make sure we're doing our job and playing our role. So I think at that point in the game and that stage, you're just so dialed and so much adrenaline is pumping. You're not even really thinking. You're almost just blacking out and playing as hard as you can.
You want to touch on it too?
Yeah.
Well, I just remember that, like, especially the fourth overtime, I think I was taking 15, 20-second shifts. I would literally touch the puck. It would go up the ice, and I was like, all right, I'm off. And then, like you said, like, you just don't want to make the mistake. And I know the ice was so bad. So if you didn't do something in the first, 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes were just, you couldn't make a play with the puck. It was a nightmare.
I think for me the worst part was having leg cramp. I was having leg cramp after taking overtime.
Dells had a jar of pickles in the room, and I think it was gone after the second overtime. And
Sammy could talk about it after the third OT. Couldn't walk.
I was getting IVs between periods, and the doctor was so slow. But by the time he put the needle in, you guys were going out to the ice again. So I was like, well, what's going on here? I basically just would go get a needle, and then I'd have to go back out to the ice. But yeah, my legs were cramping. That's the worst pain I've had in a game for sure.
Well, and I don't know how many of those hot shots we had, but we probably used them all. Those things burn, and at that point, you're not even tasting them. You're just trying anything you can.
Heart attack.
But I remember Murph because I played with him quite a bit during the game, and every time we get in the locker room, he goes, "Oh, I can't go another one. There's no way it's going another one. Like this has got to be it." Like, and like we'd be 3 overtime. He's like, "Is this even happening? Like, what's going on?"
What about Good Duty taking the heat packs and putting them on the play bar?
And he's the Swiss Army knife. He'll do whatever.
Oh man.
Homer, before we get to your goal here, how hard was it for you guys to stay disciplined as a forward and not just go guns blazing up ice?
I mean, pretty much easy. We had, I think, a whole lot of power on 4 lines. Everybody
They're not even forechecking.
Yeah, everybody was just trying to be like safe and be on the right side of the puck. So I think we were pretty much going at 1 and to make sure that nobody turns the puck over and nobody late to come back to the zone or to the bench to change after 20 seconds.
Was there any point in time where you guys knew that you had this game?
I don't think so.
I mean, not really. Like I remember Wazzy had a breakaway, I think in the first or second overtime. Like we had a couple good chances, and then I think they had a couple, and like it just felt like it was never going to end. And then you start thinking it was already 1 a.m. You're like, we have to play the next night. Like, you don't even – it got to the point where you felt like if you won this game, you probably were going to win the series.
And you guys think that this did win you the series?
It felt like after winning this one, it felt like you were like after. I remember walking away after the game, we were ready to pass out. But it felt like you just like you walked away with a 3-0 lead in the series after winning this game because you knew there's no way you're going to lose now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I don't think I took one stride from the bench to go celebrate. Like I was the biggest glide of all. Like I was just like, oh my gosh.
Streeter, Carrick, one thing I want to talk to you guys about before we wrap this is face-offs and how important they are. Did you guys ever overanalyze that as you were going through OTs? Because inevitably it could cost you the game.
Well, I think you just saw that last one. If you had possession of the puck, no one was really coming with pressure to get it from you. So if you could win the draw, you were starting with it for sure, and you were going to be able to set something up. I mean, honestly, like I think kind of like Del said, at that point you're just blacked out and trying as best you can not to make that mistake that's going to lead to a chance against. So I think everything became really important, but at no time were we like, okay, we just need to win this face-off. I think it was all kind of blending together.
Do you guys think that this game won you the series?
Yeah, 100%.
I do. Yeah, I think so for sure.
I can't imagine how they felt after losing that game because if we'd have lost it, that would have been.
That is defeating. That is like rock bottom. After, I think I knew we were gonna win it when we were all laying around on our backs in the locker room. I'm chugging pickle juice. I'm throwing pickles to the other guys. Some of the guys are having pizza. We're all passed out on our backs, like laughing around each other. Like we can't even believe this is actually happening. So I think that like as soon as we won that game, we just knew like how much of a special group we actually had and how much just our whole team bought in together. It was definitely a fun experience. We all felt
like David Goggins for a bit there, just soaking in pain.
Well, and Sammy and I were roommates, and the next morning we woke up. It must have been like 11 o'clock or noon, and we were like, "What did we just do?" Like it just everything hurt. We had to we went to the rink for IVs, and it's just. But waking up the next morning having lost that game would have been. I don't think. I mean, maybe we could have since we were on the road, and we would have found a way to figure it out. But losing that game at home, and then when we came back the next night, it was like they didn't have anything.
Dallas, as you wake up the next morning, how do you get the guys going again for another one?
Sorry, was that for me?
Yes. Yeah, it was for you.
Well, at least the coach was kind enough to cancel morning skate. Well, that's where like I really believed like that year I thought we were an extremely fit team. Like I thought we were really fit and we had the right group for it. So going in the next day, I was just really quietly confident about it, that we would recover faster than them. And I also thought we had a harder group than them. Like I really thought we were willing to do harder things. And with the leadership of the group and with the younger players with their mindset too, like there wasn't a whole lot I needed to say to that team that year. They kept after themselves. And, so the answer is you should be asking the guys on this call like what they said, because a lot of the times I just entrusted it into the guys that are on this call that I didn't have to say much.
Well, Sammy, I mean, if you want to take off the heels of that, what was being said in the locker room?
I think we all just kind of mutually agreed, let's win this one in regulation tonight, boys, and hop on that bus and get back to San Diego with it.
I think that was both teams decided no matter what, it was going to be regulation.
I think if that went into overtime, it'd be, like, here we go again. But, I remember we did come out of that next game, and we not a lot said. Guys kind of knew what they had to do, and we, I think we outplayed them pretty well that next night. So, says a lot about what that first game meant, going that far into overtime and winning it. And I think that just gave us that much more confidence that, the series was ours.
Glasser, what was the toughest thing for you being the only guy that played more minutes than Magna?
Oh, yeah.
He gets to stand there for a lot of it.
Yeah, no, listening to Sammy in the intermissions was the hardest part. No, it was fine. The hardest part was honestly the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes of each period. Kind of like what Meg said. I just remember the first 5, there was actually plays happening. Guys were maybe forechecking a little bit and getting shots on goal. And then there was 10 minutes of just very methodical up and down. And then the last 5 minutes, the ice was so bad, you were expecting some sort of turnover or something to happen. And that's really what I remember, was something was going to happen early or late each period. But you kind of get into a groove. I remember thinking to myself, don't look tired. And you're going to keep looking like you got energy. You're going to give energy to the guys. And even if you are tired, don't act like you're tired. And we just kept chugging along, and eventually we got one, right? So pretty good feeling when it goes in.
Well, it always helps when you got a goalie. Glasser is literally screaming the entire game. So there's no one thought he was starting to get sleepy. He was still yelling and hollering and keep.
Homer, I'm going to play it now. I want to hear your perspective of the game-winning goal and what you saw develop.
Well, I didn't really do much on that thing. Kev is a highly skilled player that can, brought some players to him he's got quick hands to pass the puck. So when I found some open ice in front of me, my first thought, I was going to shoot right away. I had no intention of going to the net. And when I saw the D-man kind of put on the brakes and gave me some space, I trying to bring some stuff to the net, and maybe it goes in. You never know, especially in fourth overtime. And when it went in, it was just a relief, I think, for everybody that it was over. And I knew right away that when we won that game, we were going to win the game right after. We were going to come out of this thing 2-0, and just by the way that we were skating, by the way that our team was, we were just a great group. And I think we were, like Dallas said, way better fit than them. And it shows in that overtime. We were on top of them every time. And we, that was a huge game for us.
Tropper, is that your best memory in San Diego so far?
What, that game?
Yep.
Yeah, it was up there, definitely. That was one of the – obviously, you look back at it, and if you lose, it's for – I just remember thinking to myself, walking on the rink with my cold Chipotle, how demoralizing it would have been.
That food was ready for 5 hours.
So looking back at it now, I would say, yeah, it's up there as one of the. All the memories of what we've been talking about online here, the camaraderie in the locker room and the stuff guys were doing, being said, the stuff that was being said. We were just having so much fun, and that So yeah, that whole season for me was probably my favorite that I had been a part of in San Diego for myself. So it was a great group, and it was just a lot of fun to be a part of.
Dallas, last question for the group here. How sweet was it to win against Bakersfield? I know you talked about how the rivalry was that year with those guys, but I mean, that had to be extra special.
Yeah, it was. It was a rivalry that really developed. The teams firmly didn't like each other, and when you're able to beat a rival like that, it feels so great. And it went down to even like petty little stuff. Like the players don't even know this, but during the season after we lost there, and because it was Bakersfield's obviously Edmonton's farm team, a buddy of mine had sent me, I can't know what it said, but some tweet from the Bakersfield guy taking a shot at me about my Edmonton days. And I can't remember what it said, but I kept that just handy. And when it was over, I asked Brownie or Andy or one of them, I said, I want you to respond back now with this tweet. Like, I want it right back at this guy. And so it was right down to that. And so it's interesting how the competitiveness in sports and individuals, how much you really want to win. And obviously it was hard fought. They're a very, very good team that year, and we were able to come on top, which is always fun, and it gave us a chance to move on in the fall.
All right, that's all I got for you guys. Thanks a lot for the time and doing this. This was a lot of fun. Good seeing everyone too.
You're welcome. No problem.
Yeah, I love how Streeter's trying to get in good with the coach, and he's got a bike in the background.
Love the mileage. There's lots of miles on it too.
Just read the odometer.
Went and wet a towel and hung me.
I just got off. I'm gonna get back on now.
Hey, great.
All right, see you guys. Thank you.
Good seeing you guys.
See you guys.
Good to see you guys.